They picked on the wrong kid, now they regret it. Have you ever felt invisible, like no one saw your true worth until it was too late? Some people mistake kindness for weakness, and believe they can humiliate others without consequences. But sometimes, they mess with the wrong person. This is the story of a boy who suffered constant humiliation from his classmates. He was seen as weak, someone who would never fight back. But what these bullies didn't know was that they were about to pay a heavy price for their cruelty. When the truth came to light, the tables turned, and regret was inevitable. Now, get ready for a plot twist no one saw coming. Tyler had always been the quiet kid. He kept his head down, avoided conflict, and did his best to stay unnoticed at school. He wasn't weak, just different. While other boys spent their afternoons playing sports or hanging out, Tyler would go straight home, burying himself in books and his own world. But in high school, being different was like wearing a target on your back. And Tyler had been in the bullies' crosshairs for as long as he could remember. Every day, they found new ways to torment him. They tripped him in the hallways, stole his lunch, and whispered cruel jokes behind his back, sometimes right to his face. But the worst of them all was Ryan, the school's star athlete and self-proclaimed king of campus. Ryan was everything Tyler wasn't: tall, strong, and surrounded by admirers. And for some reason, he had made it his mission to make Tyler's life miserable. One afternoon, as Tyler was heading to his locker, Ryan and his group blocked his way. "Hey, bookworm," Ryan sneered, snatching the novel from Tyler's hands. "What are you reading this time? How to Be a Loser in 5 Easy Steps." His friends burst into laughter. Tyler clenched his fists but said nothing. He had learned long ago that reacting only made things worse. Ryan grinned. "Come on, guys, I think Tyler needs some help toughening up." Before Tyler could react, Ryan shoved him backward. His books scattered across the hallway floor. Students stopped to watch, some laughing, others whispering, but no one stepped in to help. Tyler swallowed the humiliation. He could feel his face burning, but he refused to let them see him break. But deep inside, something was changing. He had endured their torment for too long. And what these bullies didn't know was that Tyler wasn't as helpless as he seemed. They had no idea who they were messing with. If there was one thing Ryan loved more than being the center of attention, it was making Tyler suffer. And this time, he wanted to make sure no one would ever forget it. The school was buzzing with excitement. It was Spirit Week, and Friday's big event was the talent show. Students signed up to sing, dance, or perform tricks, hoping to impress their classmates. Tyler, of course, had no interest in participating. But Ryan had other plans. On the day of the event, Tyler walked into school like any other day, only to be greeted by whispers and muffled laughter. Something was off. People pointed at him, snickering as he passed. Confused, he reached his locker, only to find a note taped to the door: "Can't wait to see your big performance today, loser." Tyler's stomach dropped. His name was on the list for the talent show. His heart pounded as realization sank in. Ryan had signed him up as a joke. And judging by the way the entire school was buzzing, everyone knew about it except him. Before he could protest, the bell rang. There was no escape. The auditorium was packed. The stage was set, and the audience cheered as each act took their turn. Tyler sat frozen in his seat, dreading what was to come. Then the host took the microphone. "And now, for our next performer, Tyler Walker." A spotlight beamed down on him. The crowd erupted in laughter and applause, not the supportive kind, but the cruel, mocking kind. Ryan and his gang whistled from the front row. "Come on, genius, show us what you got." Tyler's legs felt like lead. He wanted to disappear, to sink into the floor and never be seen again. But there was no way out. With every step toward the stage, his humiliation grew. He had no song prepared, no routine, nothing. As he reached the microphone, the crowd chanted, "Sing! Sing! Sing!" He gripped the mic, his hands trembling. His throat was dry, his mind blank. And then, a loud, distorted noise blasted through the speakers. Ryan had sabotaged the microphone. The moment Tyler opened his mouth, an ear-splitting screech echoed through the auditorium, followed by a ridiculous auto-tuned voice effect. The crowd howled with laughter. Ryan doubled over, tears in his eyes. Best performance ever. Tyler stood frozen as humiliation crashed over him like a tidal wave. This was it. This was rock bottom. But what no one realized, what Ryan would soon regret, was that Tyler had just reached his breaking point. And when he hit back, he wouldn't miss. Tyler walked out of the auditorium in a daze. The echoes of laughter still rang in his ears. But something inside him had shifted. He had spent years enduring their cruelty, telling himself to stay quiet, to keep his head down. Not anymore. That night, he locked himself in his room, staring at the wall, his fists clenched. He could still hear Ryan's mocking voice, see the way the entire school had laughed at him. But Ryan had no idea who he had been messing with. Tyler had a secret, one he had kept hidden for years. Before moving to this town, before becoming the quiet kid everyone ignored, he had been someone else. Someone stronger. Someone unstoppable. Tyler's father had been a decorated martial artist, training elite fighters in self-defense and discipline. And from the moment Tyler could walk, his father had trained him. Every strike, every technique, was ingrained in his body. But after his father passed away, Tyler had sworn never to fight again. He didn't want violence. He didn't want to hurt anyone. But now, he wasn't so sure. For years, he had let the bullies believe he was weak. He had let them push him, humiliate him. But that was over. Tyler took a deep breath, then dropped to the floor and started training. Push-ups, sit-ups, shadowboxing. He reignited every skill he had buried, every lesson his father had taught him. This time, he wouldn't run. This time, he would make them regret ever underestimating him. The next day at school, Tyler walked through the hallways with a different energy. He wasn't hiding anymore. Ryan and his gang were waiting, leaning against the lockers like they always did, smirking as Tyler approached. "Look who's still here," Ryan said. "After that performance, I thought you'd drop out." His friends chuckled. Tyler didn't react. He simply looked at Ryan, his expression unreadable. Ryan frowned. Something was different. "Not going to say anything, nerd," he taunted. "Come on, make it fun for us." Tyler tilted his head slightly. Then, for the first time ever, he smiled a cold, confident smile. Ryan's smirk faltered for a second. He had no idea that he had just awakened something he couldn't control. And very soon, he would regret it. The cafeteria was packed, buzzing with its usual chaos, laughter, gossip, and the occasional food fight. Tyler sat alone, calmly eating his lunch. But today, something was different. Ryan and his gang entered, scanning the room like predators looking for their next victim. And as always, their eyes landed on Tyler. Ryan grinned. "Hey, superstar. Missed you at rehearsal. You're not quitting showbiz, are you?" The cafeteria chuckled. Tyler didn't react. Ryan hated being ignored. With a signal to his friends, he strutted over, grabbing Tyler's tray and flipping it onto his lap. "Oops," he said mockingly, "Butterfingers." The crowd gasped. Everyone expected the same reaction as always, Tyler sitting there, taking it, humiliated. But this time, Tyler stood up. Slowly. Calmly. Ryan chuckled. "Oh, you finally got something to say, loser?" Tyler locked eyes with him, his gaze steady. Then, in a voice so calm it was almost chilling, he said, "Hit me." The cafeteria fell silent. Ryan blinked. "What? You like proving how tough you are, right?" Tyler said. "Go ahead. Hit me." Ryan hesitated. Something felt off. Tyler wasn't scared. In fact, he looked almost amused. "Not so brave now?" Tyler taunted, his voice steady. Ryan's pride was on the line. The whole school was watching. He clenched his fists. "You're seriously asking for it, nerd?" And then, he swung. Faster than anyone could process, Tyler dodged. Not just dodged, he moved with surgical precision, stepping just enough to the side for Ryan's punch to miss completely. Ryan stumbled forward, thrown off balance. Gasps echoed through the cafeteria. Before Ryan could recover, Tyler struck. Not with a punch, but with a calculated sweep to the legs. Ryan crashed to the ground. Hard. The cafeteria erupted. Ryan scrambled up, his face red with rage. "You little," he lunged again. And again, Tyler evaded, slipping past him with ease. His movements were fluid, practiced. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a fluke. Tyler knew exactly what he was doing. Ryan, the school's biggest bully, was being outmaneuvered by the very kid he had tormented for years. By the time Ryan realized he was outmatched, it was too late. Tyler stepped in, using a technique so precise that Ryan's arms were locked behind him in a matter of seconds. With a slight shift, Tyler could dislocate his shoulder in one move. Ryan froze. For the first time, he was the one feeling helpless. Tyler leaned in and whispered, just loud enough for him to hear, "This is me being nice." Then, he let go. Ryan staggered back, panting. The cafeteria was dead silent. Every student who had laughed at Tyler the day before was now staring at him in shock. Tyler picked up his bag, slung it over his shoulder, and walked away. The kid they had humiliated, the kid they had underestimated, had just become the most feared person in school. And Ryan, for the first time in his life, was afraid. Ryan didn't show up at school the next day. Or the day after that. Word spread like wildfire. Tyler had humiliated him, and not just in front of his friends, but in front of the entire school. By the time Ryan finally returned, something had changed. He wasn't the cocky, untouchable king of the school anymore. He walked through the hallways with his head down, avoiding eye contact. The same students who once cheered him on now whispered behind his back. The predator had become prey. Tyler, on the other hand, had become a legend. Students who never even acknowledged him before suddenly wanted to be his friend. Even teachers seemed to look at him differently. But Tyler didn't care about popularity. He didn't care about revenge in the way Ryan probably feared. All he wanted was respect. But Ryan? Ryan couldn't handle it. A week later, Tyler was at his locker when he heard footsteps behind him. He didn't even have to turn around. "I know you're there, Ryan," he said calmly. Ryan froze. He'd been planning to ambush Tyler, but the fact that Tyler had sensed him without even looking, that was terrifying. He cleared his throat, forcing himself to sound tough. "You think you won, huh?" Tyler turned slowly, his expression unreadable. "I don't need to win, Ryan. I just need you to understand one thing." He stepped closer, his voice dropping. "You're never going to hurt me again." Ryan swallowed hard. He wanted to say something, anything, to regain control. But the truth was written all over Tyler's face. He wasn't afraid anymore. And without fear to feed on, Ryan had nothing. For the first time in his life, Ryan knew what it felt like to be powerless. And that was the real revenge. Ryan had never felt this kind of humiliation before. Not just because he had lost a fight, but because he had lost control. For years, he had ruled the school through fear. People laughed at his jokes not because they were funny, but because they were afraid to be the next target. Teachers turned a blind eye. His friends followed him, not out of loyalty, but out of survival. But now, everything had changed. The whispers in the hallways weren't about Tyler anymore. They were about him. "Did you hear what happened to Ryan? Man, he got destroyed. Dude couldn't even land a punch." The same crowd that once cheered for him was now laughing at him. He had become exactly what he had made Tyler feel for years, a joke. Ryan sat alone at lunch. His usual group had abandoned him, afraid of being associated with him. And then, Tyler appeared. Ryan tensed, expecting a cruel remark, maybe even a smirk of victory. But Tyler simply placed his tray down and sat across from him. Ryan frowned. What are you doing? Tyler shrugged, taking a bite of his food. Eating lunch. Ryan stared at him, confused. You got what you wanted. You humiliated me. Why are you even talking to me? Tyler set his fork down and looked him in the eyes. Because I'm not you. Ryan blinked. I could have ruined you, Tyler continued. I could have made your life miserable, just like you did to me. But I won't. Ryan swallowed, shame creeping into his chest. He had expected anger. He had expected payback. But this? This was worse. Because Tyler was proving, right in front of him, that he was the better person. And Ryan was just a bully who finally got what he deserved. For the first time in his life, he felt something he had never truly experienced before: regret. As weeks passed, things continued to change. Tyler didn't become the school's new bully. He didn't seek revenge. He simply lived his life, no longer in fear. And Ryan? Ryan wasn't the same either. He still had an ego, still had a temper, but he had learned a lesson the hard way. One day, as Tyler walked past him in the hallway, Ryan hesitated, then muttered just loud enough for him to hear, "I'm sorry." Tyler paused for a moment, then gave him a small nod before walking away. No more fear. No more humiliation. Justice had been served, and this time, the right person had won. This story isn't just about revenge, it's about standing up for yourself. Tyler didn't win because he fought back. He won because he refused to be afraid. Bullies only have power when people let them. But the moment you take that power away, they have nothing. What do you think of this story? Have you ever experienced something similar? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible stories like this one. Thanks for watching.